Hello, everybody. Welcome to It's a Frankly Harry podcast. I'm your host, Frank Weber. So glad you could join me here in the forest again this week. There was something that was kind of tugging at my heart and my mind here the last few days. Sometimes on this show, it's difficult to come up with topics and things that are never really talked about at length or in much detail, and that's part of what this show is about. As well as talking about certain current events and society and culture. And anyway, let me go ahead and set the table for you, and I can go ahead and describe this. But as many of you know, I'm a big fan of comedian Adam Carolla, and he has his own podcast that's on 4 days a week. And you could say he's kind of like an idol to me. I'd kind of like to be like him. A big critical thinker. And I'm not trying to plug him or anything, by the way. I mean, I know I'm glad that you're listening to my show, but he is an idol and a role model to me. But anyway, he's a big critical thinker. He's down to earth. Goes into a lot of things about nuance, or what you might also call caveats to situation. They use the word caveat a lot when I was in dental school, and I was like, what the hell is caveat? But he's also, of course, very funny. I think he's funny. And like me, he also repeats a lot of things. And so last Thursday on his show, it's the one with Jim Florentine, another comedian. I recommended that one. That was a great show, very funny, hilarious. But he started the show talking about shame and how we don't have a lot of shame in our society anymore. And I believe that Adam is not wrong, but I think the term shame in the situation, I don't remember exactly what newsworthy event he was actually talking about now. It's been like 5 days ago. But what I think he really meant is that he wants people to take responsibility for their actions, and if they foul up or fuck up, as I sometimes say on this show, that they should be punished and potentially shamed. It's kind of like what we have with people who go to prison. That's, kind of a shameful situation, assuming that they're guilty. If they're not guilty, then there's something else going on. And of course, we do it a lot with kids, when they go to the principal's office at school. But I was thinking there, the term shame is not necessarily the right term, and I wanted to add my own nuance or caveats to situation, because I've seen a lot of people who are shamed for doing something that is positive, perhaps because the other person who's doing the shaming is jealous of them, or I've also seen people who are shamed over neutral things. I'll give you a very common situation in our society and Western culture, especially. I'm going to try hard not to name names or organizations or anything here, but there's a lot of people who feel shamed into going into church. Like if they have to miss church once in a while, someone is going to shame them for not going. Or they get shamed, of course, for something that is, outside the social mores or perceived social mores or beliefs of another person, the person doing the shaming. So what I'm saying is that not all shaming is healthy. Some of it is really quite bad and negative for people. And if you want to create a better world, you have to be very discriminate with your shaming. So is what I'm trying to say there. And a lot of times, the issues people are ashamed about are matters of the heart when it all comes down to it. So anyway, leading into my example here, so Sunday night, and I don't watch a lot of award shows anymore. I think they're basically for celebrities and their peers to kind of pat themselves on the back and party and kind of bullshit and whatnot. And the public doesn't usually get a lot of say in who gets awarded what. But this past Sunday night, the Grammys were on, and I didn't watch the show. Like I said, I don't watch a lot of award shows anymore for those very reasons. It's weird because I had I'm going to go into several tangents here because not just to fill time, but because I think they're interesting and I think they're fun. But I knew a guy here in Canyon who passed away a few years ago. I didn't know him real well, but I met him, and he was an interesting guy. His son was a local, I think his son is retired now. He's still around, but he's a retired optometrist. He was the dad is named Dr. Bud Townsend. He who passed away, and he was a professor of history last at West Texas A&M, which I know a lot of the alumni would prefer it be called West Texas State, which is what it was until about 30 years ago or so. But he did something, and he talked about it in Lions Club one time, where he did something in the 70s, some sort of book or compilation on Bob Wills. If you recall, Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys were instrumental in the evolution of country music back in, 30s and 40s maybe, 1930s, 1940s. It was a long time ago. But he did something related to that, to him, Bob Wills, and won a Grammy for it in 1975, and showed us pictures of his Grammy Award with a phonograph, I think it is. Anyway, so that's been 50 years ago now. And it's easy to see that a lot of things have changed. This year at the Grammys, apparently Beyonce, who I would admit is a very talented person in her line of music, or what is generally believed her line of music, apparently won an award for Best Country Song. And I haven't heard it or anything like that, but you can imagine, if you're like me and you feel like country music in general hasn't been very good in the past 25 or 30 years, that why is Beyonce winning an award for Best Country Song? But anyway, I digress. Award shows are award shows. They used to be kind of fun to watch, and people would really get into them. I know some people still get into the Oscars, which are probably coming up here pretty soon. But what the incident that I really wanted to talk about, though, from that show was apparently Kanye West and his current wife, Bianca Censori, showed up on the red carpet, and the rumor on the social media is that they maybe weren't supposed to be there. Like, I don't know if they were invited or and just decided to show up for the hell of it. I don't really know what the story was behind that, but that adds another layer to it. But anyway, so Kanye's new wife, her last name, by the way, has the word censor in it, so that was kind of unusual. But she looks a lot like Kim Kardashian, who was his previous wife, I think prior to like 2022 or something like that. She looks a lot like her. But anyway, they show up on the red carpet, and she's wearing this black coat, and then she takes it off, and to reveal that she's wearing this very tight short cut, I don't know what the fashion term is. Ladies really need to help me out on this, but she's wearing this really short cut dress, very tight, that is basically looks like see-through pantyhose. I think they used to call that the nude style of pantyhose, and it basically matches her skin color. She's like, looks a lot like Kim Kardashian, right? So it's kind of an olive skin color. And so she reveals this, and of course this is all over social media. I don't think they played this on TV, quite honestly, but you can totally see through it. She's not wearing a bra, and probably not panties either. So you can definitely see her breasts and butt, and then you kind of wonder, and this is where things get really complicated with me, but you always wonder in society about whether something is appropriate or not, and obviously it depends on the context. A lot of people have worn some very bizarre things to awards shows. I know there was that joke from what was the one Naked Gun movie? I think it was the third one, where one of the wives showed up in, I guess it was a whipped cream dress, and someone asked her, like, "Oh, is that whipped cream you're wearing?" And I don't know, something like that. But, and of course, there's been many examples since then. That Naked Gun movie is like 30 years old. But anyway, the question becomes like, should somebody wear something like this? Because I don't want to shame them for their body or anything like that. But it's obvious that they are wearing something like that in order to show off and get extra attention for whatever they happen to be doing out there in Hollywood. I guess that's where the Grammys are. Again, I don't watch it, but and then it came to my mind though too, like, what the hell happened with pantyhose in women? Because I don't think they seem like they went out of style like in the 90s, and I don't think they've ever come back. I know when I was a kid, that was a really big thing. Everybody knows I love Three's Company. Joyce DeWitt used to do ads for Legs pantyhose, and they used to have a section, whether it was a separate kiosk or display or section of an aisle wall, where they would sell pantyhose or whatever. And now I don't even know if the drugstores and grocery stores sell that anymore. But anyway, the dress that Bianca was wearing was definitely looked like see-through pantyhose, or nude pantyhose, I think is what they would call it. So anyway, a lot of this stuff is situational. I'm a big body acceptance guy and naturism. But even that group only recognizes that there are certain situations where it's appropriate to go nude, and of course most situations in life, especially in a formal type setting like that, it's probably not appropriate. But in the end, my conclusion would be that a lot of this is really just matters of the heart, and it's very difficult for us as human beings to really search that. I would deem it personally inappropriate. I didn't think it's right for people to do that. It's obviously an attention getter. If it wasn't much of an attention getter, then probably wouldn't be worth mentioning. But that's kind of what I'm saying on this show. Just be careful when you feel a temptation, or maybe even a godly desire to go out and shame people. I didn't think Bianca's dress was appropriate, but it's definitely, they definitely got their reward. I mean, they got the attention they deserved, and that's why you have to test everything and weigh everything when it comes to all sorts of situations. And I kind of feel like a lot of times we don't do that. I mean, we get emotional or jump the gun, jump to a lot of conclusions that may be false. And I think this happens with a lot of people in a lot of different situations. And that's really kind of the point that I just wanted to make there. But I think I saw a clip too. I really should quit watching social media, because it's just a lot of crazy stuff on there. And what's the motive of the posters, really? But there was something else at the Grammys that happened where Nikki Glaser and one other woman took some guy's jacket off or something. I can't remember if he was muscular or something, and then went up to perform a song. I don't know. We can all, the line between entertainment and, titillation and good sound practice is just ever blurred all the time. So anyway, that's really all I wanted to say today. I thought the topic should be pretty entertaining. I don't know where a lot of I don't know where a lot of y'all have been the last few weeks. The last few episodes haven't been getting as many hits as some of the previous episodes. Seems like it's been totally different since the first of the year, and I'm a little concerned about that. Maybe it's the weather. You know, I know you don't want to hear about the weather again, but I know the show, when I did the show 2 weeks ago, it was bitterly cold here. And then one night it actually got below 0 for the actual temperature, and then yesterday here it was 89 degrees, and it looked like spring had sprung. And you know, we could talk about climate change or all that craziness, but to me that's just Texas weather, so what can you do about it? I was thinking it might be tax season as well. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I know everybody loves tax season. I'm in this tax course actually that I'm taking right now, and just basically on individual income tax, and it's really pretty interesting, but there are so many different things that can be included in income and excluded, and then there's all these exceptions and limits and things like that. It just seems like a lot of memorization. I don't know how the CPAs and the tax preparers do all that stuff, but anyway, hopefully that's not another reason why you're staying away. Hopefully it's not some other reason. Hopefully everything's going well in your lives, and we love to have you on the show. We love to have you in the forest each and every week. Please, by all means, tell your friends and family again about me, or anybody you run into in the world. Could be at the barber shop, could be at the dentist, could be the grocery store, or at Starbucks, or whatever. Just tell them about It's a Frankly Harry podcast, and you know, just tell them to give me a listen. I'd love to have them on the show here. So anyway, with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for this week. Look forward to seeing you again next week, and until then, have a great time. We'll see you in the forest then. Bye.